New York, big city of dreams. New York, big city of dreams.
What's going on? This is Jay Ellis from Nick of Time Show here, giving you that Knicks talk just in the nick of time. And it's time to talk about the breaking news that just broke Knick Nation. News that the New York Knicks have traded for RJ's buddy from Duke, Cam Reddish. Cam Reddish is a guy who's known as a 3D guy, 6'8", 17 pounds. Averaged 11.9 points per game. His three-point percentage have risen this year from last year, and he's 6'8" with a 7-foot wingspan. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm really curious to see how Cam can fit with these Knicks, and can he actually reach his potential, because he's flashed some potential with the Atlanta Hawks, and he has the potential to be something in this league. Some say he's an all-star, some say he's Paul George's, but all in all, he's a great talent with a huge prospect, and a slick move pulled off by the Don Leon for bringing Cam Reddish to the New York Knicks and reuniting him with my man, RJ Barrett, Broadway Barrett, Bully Barrett. So I'm really curious to see what Cam Reddish does with this team. And all in all, you can't be mad at this move, because all the Knicks end up doing is giving up, Kevin Knox, right? A first-round pick who is heavily protected by Charlotte, right? This first-round pick can actually end up being 2 second-round picks, depending on how the win totals weigh in from now until 2025. And we get one of the top 10 draft picks from a few years ago who has a tremendous upside. So kudos to Leon, who pulled a fleece move on these Atlanta Hawks and got us a prospect who can potentially be a really good 3-and-D guy, and also who can be like a playmaker too, because he flashed some playmaking ability. I can't wait for you guys to chime in and let us know what you think about this Cam Reddish deal. We're going to talk about it. But before we talk about it, let me introduce my guy. The man, the myth, the legend, the guy with the stats and the facts.
Ryan G's in the building. Cam Reddish, welcome to the Knicks. I mean, like I said in previous podcasts, I didn't think wing was a need for the Knicks. I thought the Knicks were pretty solid on the wings. But, I would have probably rather, either a stretch five, maybe even a young dynamic point guard to come in. But, Cam Reddish is definitely a good piece, and it's not all roses, but he definitely has a lot of upside, and I'm curious to see how the Knicks are going to use him, especially with the logjam they have at the wing at the moment.
Right, yeah, exactly. Before we even get to that, let me just talk up Cam a little bit, because Cam has been, he's been in this league and he's been up and down, and he's had some injury problems, right? He's had some Achilles problems, which kind of set the stage for him to return doing a pivotal spot in the Atlanta Hawks playoff run when they were facing teams like the Milwaukee Bucks, right? And he shows up in the Eastern Conference Finals after not playing in a long time, drops 11 points, misses the following game. Then in 3 games after that, averages 13.3 points per game, shoots 4 rebounds, 2.3 assists, 1.7 steals, and makes 3.7 three-pointers, while shooting a ridiculous 57% from the floor and 72% from 3. So off the rip, when this guy is engaged, when a guy is locked in, he can torch you. He can definitely torch you. And he's had some bright moments in these playoff spots too. He blocked Chris Middleton a few times. He did a pretty good job of guarding the Milwaukee Bucks point guard. And he's shown that he can be a difference maker using his 7-foot wingspan to his advantage. And he's a willing defender too, especially when he's motivated. And the Knicks played the Bucks this season, Ryan, and Grimes is on Middleton, and Grimes had a phenomenal game. Grimes has been great for us, but there's certain matchups where you're like, you know what, we're facing guys like Middleton, who's tall, he's lanky, he can shoot over the top with you. It helps to have a guy who is 6'8" and has a 7-foot wingspan to throw in that guy to disrupt them. He's done it before, and even though he hasn't had a perfect season, he's shown that he can play defense amongst the top guys, and that might be like, you know, sometimes when you see those, when you have your rivals, when you playing that guy you don't like, when you have something to prove, when you playing these top guys, and we see from Randall all the time, you're more motivated to show what you can do than ever before, and he might be able to help us play some of these top guys on a defensive end.
Yeah, man, most definitely. Well, I do want to bring up some stats right quick with Reddish, because just to kind of like show what the Knicks are getting in Reddish. So I picked up some stats from NBA.com, and these are defensive stats. So they have individual defending stats, meaning that when Reddish is the main defender, what percentage is the player usually shooting against Reddish, and then they have the league average from that distance. So on NBA.com, it says greater than 15 feet. So when a player is more than 15 feet away from the basket, the NBA league average is 36.4%. That's the league average of, you know, players shooting from that distance in the league. But when Reddish is the main defender, those players only shooting 35.4% against them, which is a negative 1.1 difference, which would show that Reddish, when he's defending players on the perimeter, he's holds them to a lower percentage than the league average.
Yep.
And now when it comes strictly to 3-pointers, the league average is 35% from 3. When Reddish is the main defender, players only shooting 33.6% from 3 against them. Again, negative 1.5 difference, which again shows that Reddish is holding guys below the league average when he's the main defender on them. So the Knicks is definitely getting somebody who can definitely defend on the perimeter. But and he can shoot the 3 as well, and he has a lot of upside. My issue is the logjam at the wings, because the way I see it, the way basketball is played nowadays is basically point guard, wings, big men.
Right.
I find the wings to be interchangeable, the 2 and the 3. Nowadays in basketball, it's interchangeable. So now you have to look at the guys who's ahead of Reddish at the moment. Fournier. Is Fournier going to get benched for Reddish? I doubt it. He's the big money guy. Thibs ain't benching Fournier. RJ. Is RJ going to get benched for Reddish? Of course not. Not Badman Barrett. Hell no. Grimes now, he's a rookie, and he's getting playing time, and he's developing. Do you want to halt his development and put Reddish there instead? That wouldn't be smart. You would want Grimes to grow. Again, you have Burke. Because once Rose comes back, Burks is going to be back he's going to be back on the bench. Are you going to really bench Burks? No, he's one of the more productive guys off the bench that the Knicks have. So again, it's like Reddish coming in for Knox. It's like he's taking that bench position. So for me, it's like this is why I feel like the Knicks are probably going to make another move, because there's a logjam at the wing, and if you're going to play Reddish, somebody's going to have to go to really give Reddish that playing time, because the 4 guys I see right now ahead of him, I can't see any of them really being benched and putting Reddish in there to get those minutes.
And this brings us to this next question. Are Leon Rose and Tom Thibodeau in lockstep on the direction of this team as far as this season and beyond? Because we all know Tom Thibodeau likes defense, but Tom Thibodeau also likes veterans, right? So those two ideologies are going to be combating each other, which is why a lot of people might believe that this move is a precursor to another move, because if you're bringing in Reddish and you have to make a decision on him next season, because like him and RJ came in at the same time. So if him and RJ coming in at the same time, that means we have a season and a half of Reddish and a season and a half of RJ. And we're going to have to make a decision on whether we want to keep them or not. And he's, around the league, people are guessing he's going to cost around 15 to 20K. That's what Ian Beckley has said. So we're going to have to make a decision on eventually. And I don't know what Leon is going to do, but I would not be surprised if Fournier is moved or Alec Burks is moved before the deadline, to give a little bit room to Reddish. Also, keep in mind, Ian Begley reported that Grimes was initially in the deal for Cam Reddish, and the Knicks were close to dealing Grimes for Cam Reddish, but they backed out, and instead they included Kevin Knox, which thank goodness. Woo! I would have been if they put Grimes in that deal. I would have been mad. I'd have been pissed. But people in the front office were against that move, and thank goodness they were. And they end up swapping out Grimes and putting in Kevin Knox, which is a good move for us because, like I said, Kevin Knox we had to make a decision on this season. We've talked about it on this program. We didn't think he was going to make it, and especially so we did the right thing by moving him now, and risk not getting anything for him in return. You know what I mean? So, kudos to that. But it's the question still remains: who will be here after February 10th? This is not going to be an easy question because you can make a case for everybody. You can make a case for anybody to go, right?
Yeah,
now,
pretty much.
Let's talk about Evan Fournier. Let's talk about Evan Fournier. Because most people would say, you know what, let's move Evan Fournier. Over the last week and a half, there's two things that I've seen for Evan Fournier. One of them is, holy crap, he's a useful NBA player. when he's engaged, when he knows his role, he can hit shots. And because he's been with this team for a certain amount of time, he's been better defensively over the last 2 weeks than he has this entire season. Two, when you compare Evan Fournier to Cam Reddish, and I'm gonna bring up the clean the glass stats right now. Offensively, Evan Fournier is outperforming Cam Reddish. If you're looking at the clean the glass stats, you already see right here. Cam Reddish is having a great year. First year, he's shooting in the 68th percentile from three. Corner three, shooting in the 83rd percentile. Compare that to Evan Fournier right now. On a down year, Evan Fournier is still shooting better across the board when it comes from three, when it comes from mid-range, when it comes from the short mid-range, all over the place. He's just shooting a lot better than Cam Reddish, point blank, period. So, what are you saying? Cam Reddish, as of today, has a higher ceiling than Evan Fournier because of his defensive switchability, because of, he flashes some playmaking. But he has to show it. And whether or not the front office makes that move right now is going to really tell us something. It's going to tell us what do they prioritize. Do they prioritize making the playoffs now or later? Because just as easily as they can probably move Evan Fournier or Alec Burks, who might be the easy move right now because he costs less money. I can also see them taking a long approach, having Cam Reddish be with these guys over the next few months, having him be with guys like Johnny Bryant over the summer, and then trying to make the decision on him and during the summer as well. Like, I can see them going, you know what? How is he performing with the Knicks now? How is he performing with Johnny Bryant and stuff during the summer? And then try to say, you know what? Let's make our move in the summer, or let's make our move next trade deadline when it comes to Cam Reddish, when it comes to Alec Burks, when it comes to Evan Fournier. I can see both of those things happening.
Yeah. Here's the thing. So Cam Reddish's last 5 games with the Hawks, he scored no points 4 of those games. And 2 of those games he actually had playing time in. One game he had 13 minutes, another game he had 3 minutes, and 2 other games he had DMPs. And then one game he scored 18 and played 37 minutes. Now, Cam Reddish, it seemed like the Hawks pretty much, they're iffy on him. That's why they traded him. And they brought him to the Knicks. So, yeah, there's a possibility where they might, Knicks might leave Cam Reddish on the bench and just have him, learn their style of play, learn the offense, and just watch, the other guys go out.
I feel like we lost Ryan. Because whenever Ryan freezes like this, I think his computer messes up. So I might have to take over for a second. Ryan, are you there? We lost Ryan, man. We got to get enough super chats to get Ryan a new computer one day, all right? But, like, ultimately, I'm going to take over from here. Ultimately, though, because I don't want anybody to think that because the Hawks traded Cam Reddish that he doesn't have any value, because kind of what's going on with Obi Toppin and the New York Knicks now is what's happening with Cam Reddish, right? You're going to need playing time to develop into the player that you want to be, and the more playing time you have, the more time you have to develop, the more you can show. Some people are kind of surprised that we didn't get they're saying that we fleeced the Atlanta Hawks. And they're saying that, I can't believe it didn't take that much to get him. Well, the thing is, he's had flashes, right? He has flashes, his potential. You need proof of concept to prove that he can be a productive NBA player for long stretches of time. He's had a great stretch. He had a nice 7-game stretch in the beginning of the season when he played well. He had also another great stretch in December where he scored 30 points a couple of times. And it was great from 3, but that's not enough to have to put like quickly in a deal. Plus a 1st-round pick. I feel like we got him at a fair trade, and that's something to look forward to when we move Obi eventually, because I feel like it's going to happen. Not because Obi's a bad player, but because he's not getting the time. Obi's not getting the time. So potentially for us, this can be a great move, a great 3-and-D guy who can also, possibly defend the other team's best player. And at the least, he could probably be a really good defensive guy. And hopefully, at his ceiling, he could be a guy who can, create for others and, round out the rest of his game, meaning rounding out his mid-range game, rounding out his moves to the basket. But he has ways to go. He has to clean up his isolation play. That's something the Hawks players kind of complained about, cleaning up his isolation play, not going one-on-one so much, and passing the ball a little bit more because he gets a little bit of tunnel vision and has to be more consistent. But I also want to say this: I don't get too caught up in the last 5 games where he wasn't playing well, because a lot of times, especially with these young players, when they're having issues with their team, when there's trade rumors going around, 9 times out of 10, that player's efficiency, especially if it's a young player, dips around trade season, especially when especially when they're younger. And remember, he's like 22 years old. He's a young kid. He's younger than a lot of the guys that we have on our own team. So don't take that dip too seriously in my eyes. I think you have to take that performance with a grain of salt and realize that this kid does have potential to do something. But we have guys here, Johnny Bryan and others, who can pull it out of him, and hopefully we can, man. Hopefully we can. All right. Shout out to Ryan G, who's returning. And Ryan G, what you just missed is me saying don't take the last 5 games too seriously, because a lot of times when your name is in trade rumors, especially as a young player, you kind of get a little bit distracted. And most young players who are in the NBA, they start to dip. Their productivity starts to dip when they see that their name is in trade rumors and things of that nature. So don't take that to heart too seriously. Also, you have to consider that he has other players above him, similar to Obi Toppin. He has Herter in front of him. He has DeAndre Hunter in front of him, who's a really good defensive guy who needs minutes as well. There's a logjam there, and that's why he's moved. And that's how he was able to get him as cheap a price as he was able to get him. All right?
Yeah, but before my computer decided to just shut down on me, one of the first things I have to do is get a MacBook as soon as I get some money in my pocket. But I wasn't putting too much stock on his 5 games because I was trying to get to a point overall, but unfortunately my computer cut me off. So my point was that because Cam Reddish wasn't getting a lot of playing time in Atlanta, that he might, be comfortable with taking a back seat, in the Knicks, with the Knicks as well, learning the team and learning how they was playing, things of that nature. Like there might not be, for example, like how some players, when they're not getting a lot of playing time, whatever the case may be, they might cause, a commotion and they might make a big deal out of it and things of that nature. I was trying to say that maybe Cam Reddish won't do that because he's coming from a similar place in Atlanta.
He wanted to leave. He wanted to leave because there was a log jam in Atlanta. So he wants the playing time. Like he's come here to play.
Yeah, but I'm saying that just proves my point overall about the Knicks making another move, because why are you going to bring in another player that, you already know you have a bunch of wings as it is? Why are you going to bring in another player that, he left his other, he expressed leaving his other team to come to the Knicks or whatever team we're going to trade him to for playing time. So it's like it's either the Knicks are going to flip Cam Reddish again and make another move, or it's somebody else that's going to go. But I was just saying that, the fact that, he didn't really get playing time in Atlanta, like the Knicks might be able to get away with just stashing him on the bench. But again, like I said, it doesn't make sense. It's either you're going to flip Cam Reddish again or you're going to give him playing time by moving somebody else.
Yeah, I agree. A move is going to have to be made at some point. I know some people think it's going to happen between the trade deadline. I think that's a possibility, but I also would not rule out something happening over the summer or next trade deadline. Once the Knicks really see what they have in Cam Reddish, how he performed with Alec Burks, how he performed with Evan Fournier, because this team, they want to make the playoffs. Like, we're right in the thick of it. We're 500. You know what I'm saying? So we want to make the playoffs. And Tom Thibodeau is a guy who wants to win. He does love defense. So he can get on this team and get minutes if he plays defense. He has a chance to outperform other players on the defensive end because he has physical gifts that allow him to do it. He just has to be more consistent. And that has been an issue with the Atlanta Hawks. Sometimes that's the view I'm getting from certain fans, right? But we have guys here in Johnny Brown, we have guys here with Tom Thibodeau who can really help this kid lock in and take that next step from being an okay defender to a really good defender and be an elite defender. He just has to want it. He just have to work for it. And also, it might take some wheeling and dealing from Leon Rose to kind of get Tom Thibodeau out of his own way sometimes. Because, these guys in Evan Fournier and Alec Burks today are outperforming Cam Reddish on the offensive end. Today. Not in the future, today. So it's gonna be some sacrifices made if Cam Reddish makes this lineup. But it can work out for him. It could definitely work out for him. It can work out for us. All in all, still a good move from the Knicks. The next move, though, is really going to tell a lot.
Yeah, most definitely, because, like you said, the Knicks are in the playoff hunt. And if you're in the playoff hunt, you're going to want guys like Fournier and Burks on your team that could, produce on, get you some buckets. And they might not be the best defenders, but they defend decently enough. I mean, the stat came out the other day that since January, the Knicks had the best defense in the league. And that's with Fournier and Burks within the lineup.
Yeah.
So, it's going to really, I think, like you said, the next move is going to tell a lot because it's going to show, are the Knicks really trying to win now? And if they're trying to win now, Fournier is not going nowhere. Burks is not going anywhere. And the only way Cam Reddish is going to get playing time is if he displaces Grimes or somebody else.
Exactly.
But if the Knicks are really going for the young movement and there's not really a big focus on winning, then Fournier is going to go, or Burks is going to go somebody like that, and then that's how Cam Reddish is going to get his playing time.
I still feel like we got to make a move at some point, though. Like, I would like to see a move before the trade deadline because Cam Reddish takes Grimes minutes, right? Right now, Grimes is only getting minutes because Derrick Rose is out and Alec Burks is the starting point guard. That's the only reason Grimes is even getting minutes in the first place. So if Derrick Rose comes back, there goes Grimes minutes. You already know what it is. Tom Thibodeau trusts Derrick Rose over everybody.
Yeah.
Right? So now we're looking at Derrick Rose with the second unit with IQ with Alec Burks. And now it's going to be Alec Burks versus Grimes versus Cam Reddish. And you already see the way Tom Thibodeau is talking about Alec Burks. So, like, the only real way I can really see Cam Reddish getting some burn or a chance of getting burned if Alec Burks is moved, bro. That's a really Alec Burks would have to be moved. And yeah,
it got to be somebody. It just got to be somebody because with the way the roster is right now, Cam Reddish is not seeing burn.
Right.
The way the roster is at the moment.
So I mean, look out for all that, man. Look out for Evan Fournier's good play raising his stock value and him being moved. Look out for Alec Burks being moved, which I feel like might be more likely before the trade deadline than anything, even though it would hurt. But I can see that being more likely Evan Fournier. Look out for all scenarios, but also, be aware that we can also play the long game and have Cam Reddish kind of just kick it with his team, have a few months with Johnny Bryant and the Knicks coaching staff, and the Knicks end up making a move in the summer or the subsequent trade deadline in February next season. All right?
Yeah.
Now, 309 in the chat. Shout out to everybody who's in the chat, man. If you're loving the content so far, please hit that like button. Please hit the subscribe button, man. We do post games after every game. Next game, we're going to have the full squad next game. Next game is going to be me, Ryan G, and Raw for this Knicks Hawks matchup. And will it be the Cam Reddish revenge game? Will it be that?
Have to wait and see.
Will Kevin Knox come in and be a flamethrower and revert to corner Kev? Is that going to happen? Like Saturday's storylines is looking amazing right now.
For real, we should really have Cam Reddish versus Kevin Knox. Just have him in there for like 5-10 minutes at least.
Exactly. Everybody clear out. Randall, RJ, all y'all clear out. Knox versus Cam, battle of the trades. Let's see who got it. Let's go one-on-one.
Exactly.
Let's do it. I'm with that. Shout out to everybody who's rocking with us to the Cat and the KOT show. Out to Frank Matos, JW, Nucky Fresh, Winston Ellis, Antoine Boyce, Stanley Mann, Rich Boy, and everybody else is rocking with the KOT show. Press the boss, everybody, Rich Boy, everybody. And you know what I gotta do? Shout out to my guy Eric Nucky Fresh and Eric Nucky Fresh in the building, man. All I just need my guy. I just need Young Simba in the chat one time so I can do my I just need Young Simba in the chat one time. I haven't done it in a minute. Put an APB out for Young Simba, man. I know this man's been working hard, but I need you here one day so I can give you the proper intro you deserve. All right, let's go. We got first caller up for the night. We have Stan, not Steve. Stan Nowak. All right. Stan, what's going on, man? Let us know what you want to talk about, sir.
Well, I want to be relatively serious tonight as opposed to what I was last night. And if you knew my relative, you would understand why I was serious. Oh, my gosh. But, no, I want to address some, you can't help it. Once a radio guy, always a radio guy. Anyway, I want to address two things very quickly. One of them is quickly. And Aaron Ryan, see, I get names wrong too, guys. Ryan was talking about a point guard. You got your point guard, okay, in my opinion. Secondly, I remember year number one, watching tape of Mitchell Robinson shooting threes.
Yeah.
3 after 3 after 3 after 3 after 3 in practice. He said, and he stated, when are they going to let me play? So eventually, he's going to start shooting some threes. He hasn't gotten to that yet. Tibbs doesn't have confidence in him, and proof of concept is a phrase I like, you like, so whatever. I think this is a brilliant trade.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that you would have thought that I would have thought that. And two guys are going to suffer for this as far as time goes. It's going to be Grimes, and it's going to be Kemba. Yeah. Okay? Kemba right now, Reddish, and as far as this positionless basketball stuff, that's nonsense. You go up against a guy 2 inches taller than you, and 6 inches more reach. You see if you can shoot over him.
Right.
Okay. Grimes is 6'4". Okay. Okay. Which is a half inch taller than Quick is, and quickly is fine. Reddish is 6'8". But he's a 6'8". He's a 6'8" 3. Okay, that's what we needed. That's what I wanted last night, and that's what we got. He's averaging, and look at his free throw percentage. You realize if the Knicks would have shot like 75, 80%, 75% as a team over some of these games that they lost by just a few points, they'd be like 3 or 4 games over 500.
Right. So I don't think Burks is going anyway. Here's my point.
Okay.
Reddish shoots 90% from the from the free throw line.
Right.
38% this year from 3. He's athletic. He had some injuries. Thibodeau will make him play defense. For now, he's going to run with the second unit. And until he's ready, and the Knicks are may move Fournier, may not. I don't think they will. I think the only guy to be moved at this point is Kemba Walker. Kemba Walker, when you look at all the players around him, is like the guy. He's kind of like the kid at the amusement park that's too short to go on a big roller coaster.
Right.
I see what you're saying.
I see what you're saying.
And so we're not using him now. Tibbs was not going to use him, and your question, Jay, was are Leon Rose and Tibbs on the same page? I think this trade would not have happened if it wasn't for Tibbs saying, we need some rebounding here. We need some height, because the biggest guy I got out there besides my center is 6'8". And you're not going to get rid of Obi. Obi's going to be the backup for now, and then we'll see what the future brings. Because every basketball team 3 years down the road looks completely different than it does in the current situation.
Absolutely.
And I think this is very good.
I think it's good too. I cut you off, man, but all good points. I'm gonna reiterate the points, but making a lot of good points, and something I think I want to discuss with Ryan and the rest of the chat. Moving forward, man.
Okay.
All right.
Have a good one.
Have a good one, man. Shout out to my guy.
Thank you, man.
Shout out to my guy, Stan. I think he brought up a good possibility or something that we need to think about that can help open certain things up, right? Because one of the things that Tom Thibodeau likes unequivocally, Ryan, we all know, is height.
Yeah.
He loves height. He loves the fact that we can switch. That's why he even likes Alec Burks at the one spot. Even though Alec Burks is not the prototypical point guard, if you even saw how he was playing certain teams, he liked to switch a lot of things. So yeah. Maybe the play is Kemba Walker, since maybe we might try to move Kemba. I can see that happening too. Maybe it's a combination. Maybe it's a combination of Kemba and Burks, so when we get Derrick Rose back, then we can give Cam Reddish some burn as well. Like that could be a play too. It's a lot to think about, man. It's a lot to think about because it seems difficult now. It's a lot now that the team is rolling, and there's a synergy happening, and there's some kind of consistency going on. It's kind of hard to predict what move we're going to make next because any move can turn us back into a bad situation. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen next for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting. All I know is that I'm just basing it off of what I see from Thibs and the guys he likes and the guys he's more likely to play. And like I said, with Reddish, is Reddish a player that Thibs would like? Of course. 6'8" defender, 7-foot wingspan. Like I said, he could switch onto multiple guys and defend them on the perimeter. And that's a Thibs guy. But it's just that who is he sacrificing? That's my whole thing. Because Fournier, he's definitely not sacrificing Fournier. RJ Barrett, he's definitely not sacrificing Barrett. And I understand what he's saying, certain positions, you have guys playing certain positions, but at the same time, I've seen Thibs coach the Knicks for nearly 2 seasons now. And Thibs uses a lot of these guys interchangeably at the 2 and the 3. Yep. He does do that. Yep. So that's my whole point. With the wings with Thibs doesn't really stick to a prototypical like, okay, my 3 gotta be this certain size or my 2 gotta be this certain size. Thibs interchanges with the wings. So that was my whole point. So if you have Fournier on the wings, RJ Barrett, Burke, Grimes, for Reddish to play, somebody has to be sacrificed.
Somebody has to be sacrificed, man.
And like you said, it could be Kemba gone, it could be Burks gone. Like we don't know, but somebody has to go if Cam Reddish is going to really get that playing time. That was my whole point.
Yeah, that's the whole point. And like you already know my clean the glass. Cam Reddish having a great year from 3, 37% all together from 3. Everything else is cold. This blue represents cold, under league average for his position. The stronger this orange gets to like a hot bright orange, the better it is. Shooting 83% from the corner 3, something that Thibs likes. He likes to have his offense produce a lot of corner 3s, so that's gonna be great for us. But if you compare his offensive numbers to everybody else on the Knicks, including Alec Burks, like they outperform him on the offensive side. Alec Burks, 91st percentile from non-corner 3, 85th percentile from all 3. Right, even gives you a little bit of mid-range. Evan Fournier, although he's been playing bad recently, you can already see all across the board. You don't have to look at the numbers, just look at the colors. 71st percentile, all 3. Non-corner 3, 72nd percentile. Mid-range is bidded. All together, offensively, about a more complete package today than Cam Reddish. Cam Reddish gives you more potential on the defensive side of the ball. So you're going to be sacrificing some offense for defense no matter who we move. I'm just wondering who's going to be moving first and when these moves are going to happen. Yeah, man. I can't wait to see it. Shout out to everybody who's rocking the KOT show. We got 423 people in the chat. Gunshots to you guys, man. If you're liking the breakdowns, you're loving the show, please hit that like button and also subscribe to the channel. We do post games as well. Next post game will be Saturday. We're gonna have full crew, me, Ryan G, and our guy Raw Hebrew Remnant. We're gonna be talking about the Knicks versus the Hawks, Cam Reddish versus Kevin Knox. We're gonna break it down for you guys, and we're gonna talk about it right after the game. So definitely be here or be square. All right.
Yes, sir.
All right. Next caller up. I forgot who we got. We got Jason up next. What's going on, man?
Yeah, Jason always nice.
What's going on, my man? Regular Jason. What's going on, my guy?
I'm loving this trade, man, because when we always think about our young core, like we always say, we have a great young core, and I love McBride, I love Grimes, I love IQ, but when we think of like upside, like we always think of RJ. And maybe we thought of Obi, but I don't know. Obi's not really playing anymore. But the point is, now with another guy who's 6'8", it's like, well, now we have another guy who has potential to like really be a game. Even if he's not like an all-star, just being a good wing at that size is really good.
It's essential. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why I love this trade, because of the upside. And he's only 22 years old. Like, yes, he's been inconsistent. He hasn't always played hard. He has a lot. He's not the finished product. If he was, they wouldn't have traded him for one pick.
Right.
Yeah.
But he's 22 years old. I mean, R.J. Barrett, we love him too, and he is not inconsistent either. He's a lot better than Cam Reddish. I'm not in any way saying that they're close, but I'm just saying the point is they're inconsistent. They get older, they get better, hopefully.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree.
Now on to what I think the Knicks are going to do. I think the last call is right. I think Kemba's pretty much going to be gone. I don't think they're going to I think when he comes back, like they're going to try to hold him for another game or two. When he comes back, they'll put him in the starting lineup because they don't want the PR nightmare that they had last time.
Right.
But I think they're going to trade him. I think they're going to trade him as soon as they can. And I think Burks is going to be the point guard. It's going to be the starting point guard. And I think until Rose gets back, I think the one player who I wouldn't be surprised if the Knicks move. It's the same guy I've been telling you they should move for the last week or two. I think they should. This makes it more likely they move Obi Toppin.
It's
and
possible.
go small in the second unit, because Cam Reddish is 6'8". He's not a little guy. You put him in the second unit, and then let's say you stagger RJ or Burks minutes with him. You know, that's not a small second unit. Yeah, they're not. No one's like a traditional power forward, but do you really need a traditional power forward in today's NBA?
Right.
Yeah, I got you.
I feel like
so I think
I can definitely see Obi being moved. I'm not sure when though. Like you said this. You said this before. I said this when I was on Knicks Fan TV. Like, I think he has to move eventually. Not because he's not a good player. I feel like he's potentially be an excellent player in this league, but he doesn't get the minutes. So I get what you're saying. But again, I kind of agree with you though. I feel like he might be. Is a possibility Obi can be moved. It's possible.
I think you have to move him now, because like last year he was bad. This year he's been good, but he's not getting the minutes. His value is never gonna go up. Like it's higher than it was last year because he's actually good now.
Like Cam Reddish.
But it's never gonna go up. Like it's only gonna go down, especially if he's only playing 10 minutes a night. And Tibbs seems really set now. Like early in the year, he was out playing Randall, so Tibbs was occasionally giving more minutes. Tibbs ain't doing that no more.
Well, yeah. I mean, we have our centers back. We didn't have Noel playing. We had Mitchell who was injured a lot. So Tibbs was forced to go small ball sometimes and go with Randall and Obi. So now that we're healthier than we've been all season, there's gonna be a lot less opportunity for him to get any type of small ball minutes at all.
Yeah, and I think it also helps. I think it also hurts him, the fact that Randall looks like he's starting to turn around now too. So if Randall turns around, then you can forget about it.
Facts.
Exactly, and also I don't think, like, I see a lot of people, and I know Fritz was one of them. They're saying like, oh, we're gonna go after this guy or we're gonna go after that guy. Like, I don't think the Knicks are gonna make a big trade the rest of this deadline. Like, I think the Knicks might, like, I think they might get rid of Kemba. They might move Obi, but they're not going to go out there and go get someone, because I think the Knicks, like, they're still saving their future, a lot of their future assets for a big trade. Like, I don't think they're going to put the Dallas pick in a trade now. I think they want to wait for, like, a big trade in the summer or something, And I also don't think that they're going to trade Burks or Fournier, not this deadline. Maybe in the offseason, but, like, they still want to make the playoffs. Yeah. And they're going to need those guys to make the playoffs. And Fournier's value is not super high. I think they're still saving Fournier. They're saving Fournier his salary for a big trade.
I agree. I mean, it's possible, man. Like, it's possible. I can see it happening both ways, man. I know, like I said earlier, like, we want to make the playoffs. I think we absolutely do. We're a 500 team right now with a chance to go higher. I feel like the more we win, the less likely it is that we move Fournier and Alec Burks before deadline. If we start to, like, go the other way, then I think that probability kind of rises that they're moved before the deadline. But the trades are going to happen, but it doesn't mean it's going to happen now. It could be in the summer too.
Yeah, like if it goes like the thing that drives me crazy about fans on Twitter is that we want the future to be now. Like, yes, in the future, Burks and Fournier probably might not be on this team, but that might not be for like another year or two.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't have to be now. Like they don't have to just go out and move those guys out now. Like you said, you mentioned they're all better than Cam Reddish right now. So like let's let Cam Reddish come in. I think if they put when Kemba comes back, I think Cam Reddish will take Grimes' spot temporarily until they get rid of Kemba.
Mm-hmm.
And then if they move Obi, I don't know if they're gonna move Obi, but if they move Obi, then there's no issue. They got a 10-man rotation right there.
Right.
You know, and then in the summer or at the next trade deadline, then maybe if Reddish is who we think he's gonna be, then they can move on from Burks. But they can't just move on from Burks just for the idea of what you think Reddish could be.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true.
That's true.
That's true.
That's definitely
true.
true.
I think like there's a big difference between what they're gonna do in a year from now versus what they're gonna do right now, and a lot of fans are getting those things confused.
Yeah, I think all valid points.
I think all valid points too, man. Like we want to make the playoffs. Tom obviously loves Alec Burks, but he seems like our most viable trade asset. So like I don't think it's gonna be a quick hook that say Alec Burks is here to move, unless it's like some big move. Where is it really gonna help us get better right now? Do you see a big move like this out there? Yeah, I don't see it right now. Yeah. The only way I can see that really happen, like I said earlier, is if we just start tanking games before deadline, crazy. Then maybe I can be like, all right.
In the opposite direction, man. Have you not seen how good we looked yesterday?
Yeah, so we'll see. So thank you for your call, man. I think we got some other callers coming up.
Thanks for having the show. I was waiting for it. I'm glad it had it.
Yeah, man.
Yes, sir.
I saw everybody was on Twitter. It's like, y'all having a live show today, right? I was like, yeah, all right, we gotta do it. I called Raw. Raw wasn't able to do it, because he had some plans prior to it. But I checked this live show out too. He had some valid points. Raw, Raw's gonna be Raw. He had some good stuff to say. But me and Ryan G are here to hold it down. All right. Another thing that's been popping up is like we've been seeing this kind of Thanos Infinity Stone graphic moving around Knicks Twitter, and everybody is saying we got one more stone to go. We gonna do it. We're coming out, and we're going to get Zion from the Pelicans. It's on its way, and I think Ross said it on his live. People are saying it around Twitter. And I'm not gonna lie, Ryan. I can see it happening. Not to say it's gonna happen tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
I can see it happening. The question is, do you want it to happen? Because that man needs a diet plan.
Yeah. Oh, well, the link has always been there between Zion and the Knicks. When Zion was in the draft, clearly all Knicks fans wanted Zion. Like it was crazy evident. And Zion has definitely said some good things about the franchise and playing at MSG, etc. When he was with the Pelicans and came to the Garden to play. Mm-hmm. So that link is always going to be there. But here's the thing: when Zion is healthy, and when Zion is at a good weight, he's one of the best players. He's one of the best young players in the league, easily, bar none.
Easily.
But here's the issue: he's not healthy. And I mean, I don't know what's really going on in New Orleans, but the last time I've seen Zion, he looked like he could be in the NFL.
Nah, he looked like the Marshmallow Man. I ain't gonna hold you, bro.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie about that. So Zion, is it a very intriguing prospect? Of course, because like I said, when he's healthy, when he's good weight, he's a beast. But the thing is, can he get back to being healthy, and can he actually maintain his weight? That's the problem. So at the moment, I still need to see a little bit more. Like,
right.
I need to see him back healthy, and if he can maintain a good weight, and see how he plays, and then if he can maintain that, then yeah, go after Zion. But if my man gonna be loose with the weight and and not be healthy, then it's not worth it.
Yeah, he gotta prove himself for sure. Him and Mitch can't hang out. All right, that's rule number one. Zion and Mitch cannot hang out together. We do not need both of those guys picking up bad weight habits. All right,
Word.
they are not. They're
Word.
only allowed to play together, see each other during the game and during practice. That's it. Y'all not going to Denny's together. None of that. All right.
Exactly.
That's a fact. But as you said, man, Zion is one of the best prospects in the world. He just needs to get his weight together. I think he shot some obscene. He would average like 27 points a game as a rookie with hardly a jump shot. So, man, if that happens, I would love for that to happen with asterisks. Yeah, he got to have his weight together for sure. He got to have his weight together. He has to conquer that before I make any type of moves to get him here for sure. But I can definitely see the interest he has when he talks. The glow he has when he talks about New York, you can see that he loves us. You can see it. So I can definitely see it happening. That's one of those things. Usually I'm really pessimistic about all-stars coming here. I'm like, that's not gonna happen. But I can actually see that happening. For real. Next,
most definitely.
Next caller up to talk about the Knicks fleecing of Cam Reddish. I'm dragging it right now. Let us know. I don't know who's next, but let us know what your name is, where you're from, and what do you want to talk about.
Hey, what's up, Jay Ellis? What's up, Ryan G?
All right.
This is Big Reaper. Thank you guys for taking my call.
All right, shout out to Reaper.
I mean, it was. Thank you. I was actually surprised they were able to pull it off. You know, I agree with you. I think this is what Cam Reddish was worth, unfortunately, because of I mean, he's had an up and down season. He's very inconsistent.
Right.
And if he's inconsistent, then you got to wait and see, like, is he actually going to be able to do well? I'm sorry, guys. Is he actually going to do well? Like, can he even, like, get, playing time on the Tibbs? And like you said, like, with a lot of the players they have now, the way Tibbs just like consistent plays. He like consistency on the defensive end, mostly on the defensive end first, and then, like, you got to prove to him that, you're a solid offensive player. You have something to contribute on the offensive end.
Right.
So I still think it's going to be tough for him to get minutes here. And, I kind of think it's different than Obi Toppin in terms of value because, I mean, if you look at our, as far as efficiency on the team, the PER, I mean, we only have 3 people that are above league average on our team. That's Mitchell Robinson, Obi Toppin, and Derrick Rose. Everybody else is way below league average when it comes to, like, efficiency and PER.
Good point.
So, I mean, so it's so I think Obi is going to be. I think Obi, I think it is going to be tough to get, like, fair value for him, and I do think he's going to be a really good player, and so that's what I'm hoping. I am hoping the Knicks are a little patient with it and not, like, trade him this year.
Right.
Because honestly, I was a big Randall fan last year, and even, like, gave him a lot of chance this year. But after, like, getting 30, I was like, you know what, he needs to prove it to me, and so he needs to prove it to the rest of the fans too, and to himself. And although he made some good plays the last couple of games, I mean, he's still averaging a lot of turnovers. Number one. And are you really paying someone $30 million a year to shoot 40% from the field?
Right.
So you got to ask yourself that.
Right.
So honestly, and also everyone is saying, like, oh, it's I hope he figures it out. However, when it comes to playoff time, they're not going to double team him. They're just going to put the best defender they have on Julius Randle. And they're going to basically say, okay, beat this guy one-on-one. And they're going to try to basically make everyone else on the Knicks, beat us or whatever. So I think they're going to play Julius Randle straight up in the playoffs. And so hopefully his efficiency goes up. I'm saying all that because I just really think they should try to be a little more patient and not to trade Obi Toppin right away because, like, because the relationship with Tibbs is just so that, well, we can tell it's not in a good place right now. You can
right, yeah.
Kind of tell Tibbs doesn't even really want to play him.
Yeah, he looks kind of defeated for sure. Yeah, all good points, man.
But I think, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for taking my call. All right. Have a good night.
All right.
I mean, you too, man. Thanks.
Shout out to Reaper, man. Who kind of he's like, hold up, Jay Ellis, Obi Toppin, because I compared if you just got here, I compared Obi Toppin situation to Cam Reddish, and people were saying, oh, we fleeced the Hawks, and yes, Cam Reddish has potential, but he's not a proven concept yet. He's shown games where he gave you 30 points. He's flashed defense, but he's not consistent offensively like the guys we have on this team, although his ceiling is higher. He has the potential to be better than guys on his team, especially on the defensive end. But he's shown flashes, which is why I'm saying I don't think we really super fleeced it. I think we got kind of fair value. And it was a good move. It was a good move for us because Kevin Knox wasn't going to be here next season. We traded a heavily protected Charlotte pick who can be protected into 2025, Ryan. Depending on how the Charlotte develops, that pick can be protected until 2025. And at that point in 2025, that first round pick can turn into 2 second rounders instead of a first. And on top of that, we so all good news for us. All good news for us. And you know what? We got Solomon Hill here as well. But Solomon Hill, he's been injured. That's kind of like a little bit of a cap dump on their part. They save a little bit of money. And in return for them saving some money, we get a second round pick who belongs to the Brooklyn Nets. So, all in all, pretty good move. Even with the question marks. Go ahead.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, when you look at it, Cam Reddish for Kevin Knox, at this point in their careers, you would say Cam Reddish is better than Knox.
Right.
So from that standpoint, the Knicks did upgrade. But my thing is with Solomon Hill here, because I don't know if the Knicks are going to keep him or if they're going to buy him out or whatever the case may be.
He's gone.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. But what I want to know is when Noel and Solomon Hill see each other, how's that going to go? Because I don't know if you remember in the playoffs last year, they had a little beef.
They did have a little bit of beef when he was walking by half court. You right?
Yeah, when Noah bumped on Trae Young and then Solomon Hill went up in his face. I want to know how that meeting is gonna go if they ever get a chance to actually interact with each other.
Yeah, I want to see that practice. You gotta score up one good time, right? Just in practice. Close the doors. Don't turn the paper. Score up, and then get to work the next day. That's it. But I don't think he's going to even be here like that because he's injured and he's a free agent next season. That was more like a salary dumps because the Atlanta Hawks are in a little bit of salary trouble and they want to save some money. So
yeah,
I don't even think he's going to really be here like that with us. He's going to be gone next season.
He's injured for the year. I knew he was injured, but I didn't know it was for the year. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that explains it right there.
Yeah, exactly. So that was a salary dump kind of throw-in situation. We got 5 callers in the queue, so let's get through it. 542 people in the chat. If this is your first time listening to the show, please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. We do post games after every game, and you can call in. You can already see the number to call in right under there, right under the graphics. 319-527-6241 to call in. Super chats are also up and helps keep the lights on. It helps pay for the phones and everything that goes on with the KOT show. All right. Next caller up. Let us know what your name is and where you're from and what do you want to talk about.
Yo. How y'all boys doing tonight? It's your boy JR from Florida.
What's going on, JR from Florida? I know you happy. I know you happy Evan Fournier is playing well. I already know.
Oh yeah. But I wanted to you guys pretty much hit on all the main points on this move. But I just wanted to drop a little bit of inside information. I'm not too far from Tampa. I'm pretty sure you guys know Kevin was from Tampa area before he went to Kentucky or whatever.
You're right.
And one of my boys does Uber in that area, and he swore to me he picked up somebody who knew Kevin Knox, and that guy told him that Kevin Knox was an anti-Knicks fan. He did not like the Knicks. Before we drafted him, before he went to Kentucky, supposedly he was one of those people that always crapped on us all the time.
Oh, really?
Really? That's what I heard about Kevin Knox. You know what I'm saying? But just to put things in perspective, man, you guys said, Cam Reddish, his upside is crazy. I mean, he's 6'8" with a touch. I mean, he has potential for days. But you guys already hit. he's not better than Fournier. He's not better than Burks. You can't deal Burks and expect him to even pull that production up. I mean, he's just now touching 40% field goal for the first time, and they flipped him immediately once he did. So, like, he's a concept. If he pops, he pops.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We'll have a 6'8". You know, and also, obviously, you know, it helps with the whole Zion thing. And it's a good idea. I mean, at worst case scenario, you have somebody taking Kevin Knox's spot that can contribute more than Kevin Knox any day of the week.
Right, because
and it doesn't hurt you. And yeah, and you kick the can down the road. You don't got to pay this guy till the end of next year if you even want to keep him. And he might help you get Zion. And like, I'm convinced. Like, I don't know if you guys watch baseball. Like when Garrett Cole, you know who that is. Like when he finished pitching for Houston. Yeah, but when he was in Houston on the last playoff game, he immediately took off his Houston hat and put on the Scott Boras, his agency hat. And like Zion's in Portland because of Nike. I swear, he's more affiliated with Nike than he is with New Orleans right now.
I believe you.
I'm not buying any of this about him being overweight because he can't lay off a fried chicken. I really don't think I don't think he wants to be in New Orleans. You know, I know it's a popular take, but I really do believe that he wants to be in New York. And like, he's gonna be like, you know how in football these guys are calling their shots. Like Trevor Lawrence didn't want to be a Jet, so he makes it known. The NBA is not quite there yet, where these players are saying where they want to go. But Zion, he's so paid, man. He was so paid before he even joined the NBA. You know what I'm saying? He's making so much money on endorsements without even the New Orleans Pelicans check on it. So, like, he doesn't care about the Pelicans. He wants to come to New York. There's a very good chance we're going to get him. And we're not going to get the fat Zion. We're going to get a motivated, nasty physique Zion. He might not have a jump shot, but even without a jump shot, he's nasty.
Yeah,
we know it.
Yeah,
listen. You know what I'm saying?
If as long as we get a spot up shooting center somewhere down the road, I'm cool. I'm cool. Zion and shooters. It's the LeBron mode, man. It works every time.
Exactly. All I need is a healthy, good weight Zion, and I'm straight.
Exactly.
Not to mention, y'all, I feel like if we had Zion on this team, even with Cam, I'm expecting RJ to be on one. Like the move, the timing of this move is beautiful. RJ is now getting into his stride. Now you're getting his boy.
Yeah.
You know RJ finna keep this going. I feel like we're gonna see what we saw yesterday way more often than we have. But one last point, y'all, and like Brian G touched on this, but like I'm really concerned about Quentin Grimes. Like I feel like he's the obvious person to take a hit here.
Yeah.
For Cam. And like I hate to see that because fact is, even though Cam is 6'8", he has better wingspan or whatever, he's not a better defender than Quentin Grimes right now, or a better shooter, frankly.
Nah.
He's not a better. He ain't a better shooter than me. So right now, I mean, let's just remember we gave up Kevin Knox and we got something for him.
Exactly. That's a win. That's a win. That's a win every time. We got something for Kevin Knox.
I know y'all boys got a lot of calls, so I'm gonna let y'all boys rock. But y'all already know I'm over here rocking with y'all boys, man. Y'all boys stay up. Make sure y'all hit them likes. If you're watching these videos, you're supposed to hear every night, win, bad, loss, no matter what. They always here giving us that Knicks talk.
Absolutely.
So let's make sure we hit the likes. And yeah, man, y'all have a good night, man.
Have a good night, man. Salute to my,
you too, man.
Salute to my guy. It comes with the energy, facts, all of that stuff. I'm not gonna even talk long because I know you got to call us. But shout first and foremost, put some respect on his name. Shout out to JT Riddick because a 999 super chat. He says, yeah, salute to the chat. Make sure you hit them likes and subscribe. Shout out to my guy JT, I might need you to like train me, you know, on some weightlifting tip. I follow JT.
Word, me too.
Yeah, I might need to hit you in the summer so I could turn into.
Yeah, man, he be in the gym.
Right, exactly. I'm gonna eat better than Mitch, but like I could have pre-Mitch before he lost the weight. You know what I'm saying?
Word.
All right, but on the Grimes tip, the Grimes versus Cam thing. Grimes today, I feel like, is more consistent within his effort and his rotations on the defensive end. Even, you know, Cam Reddish though, because Cam Reddish has a 7-foot wingspan and is 6'8", when Cam Reddish locks in, he has the potential to be better than Grimes, and he has shown that. Like we said before, the playoffs were with him versus Middleton. He blocked Middleton's shot. He gave Middleton hell. Middleton cooked Grimes when we played him this season. Grimes versus Middleton, but Grimes is 6'4".
Yeah.
So that's to be expected. So when we have these matchups with these really long wing players, where Grimes can't keep up with, that's the advantage that Cam Reddish has. And Cam Reddish, like, even though there's more consistency with Grimes right now, Cam Reddish, when locked in, can be a better on-ball defender for sure than Grimes can, for sure.
Yeah, most definitely. And I'm just gonna throw in something right quick because I know we got bad calls. Yeah, and that's the only thing that, that's one of the things that I didn't like about the trade, just for the simple fact that, Grimes is growing. Like, I want to see Grimes continue to get that playing time and continue to grow. But when you bring in somebody else on the wing, it's like, damn, is Grimes minutes going to go away, or, what's going to happen? So I'm hoping that Grimes still gets his minutes, but it's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough proposition, and it's going to be tough to see what, Thibs does with Cam and how that whole situation is going to work with Grimes.
He said, I love Grimes, but Cam balled in the Eastern Conference Finals. Stop. Of course he balled in the Eastern Conference Finals, but what happened after the finals? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying. He started off with a really good 7-game stretch to start off the season. Then after that, he cooled off in November, and he was shooting erratically. And then if you're watching what Atlanta Hawks fans are saying, they're both praising his defense because he's the best defender on the team, but they're also saying he's not consistent all the time. You know what I'm saying? So this is not a hate thing. This is not. This is a real thing. I like Cam Reddish's potential. It's still a great move by the Knicks. He's not a perfect player yet, but he has a lot of potential to be a really good player for this Knicks if things pop for us, man. There's a lot for him to do to get to that level, but is there a chance he can get there? Absolutely.
Exactly. I mean, people acting like as if we just got some guy who's averaging like 18 a game and is constantly like stopping the best offensive player on every night. Like, that's not the case. He's inconsistent at the moment. Grimes is at least giving us something consistent every game at the moment.
Yeah.
So it's like,
yeah, exactly. I'm sorry. Still a good move. It's still a good move at the end of the day.
That's what I'm saying. We're not saying it's a bad move. We're just speaking facts at the moment.
That's a fact. Next caller up is Jose. Jose, let us know what you want to talk about, sir. Where you from?
Hey, how you doing? I'm from Tampa, Florida. I'm really excited about the trade. I'm really happy we got Cam Reddish. I kind of sounded for a while that like it was gonna happen, but like as usual, us fans, I think we were expecting to get fleeced, and instead, we made out good.
Yeah.
We didn't really fleece Atlanta that bad. Like people are going a little overboard, but for what their leverage was, I think we came up top. We got the best player, but they got some assets back. So, but what I wanted to talk about with Cam Reddish is I was hoping that somehow I've been hoping even before the Reddish that we could go Obi and Randall together in a lineup. And now that we got Cam Reddish, if you stick him at the small forward, you got length there. You don't have rim protector, but you got more length. And that, to me, that excites me. I don't know what you guys think about that. That's kind of what I wanted to bring up. And also, one more thing.
Mm-hmm.
With Grimes, I love Grimes. He comes into the game, and those arms are flapping around the way that Reggie Bullock used to do it. He's just a pest.
Absolutely.
So he's a really exciting young man, but he's a rookie. I think, his minutes will be reduced, but that's nothing really that I think is very worrisome because, I'm thinking after this season, one more season, we're going to be seeing that Burks will be expiring. Some of these older guys will be being phased out, and I think Grimes has a future. He will get his minutes here and there. There will be injuries and stuff. We got depth, so it's all good. What do you think about a small lineup with the way I described?
Thank you for the call, man. All good points.
You're welcome.
What I think about the small lineup is this. This fan base wanted a small lineup a long time ago, especially because we all wanted to see Obi Toppin get more minutes. Right now, he's only getting 10 minutes a game, and we all want to see it, especially when we have these stretch five centers. But unfortunately, Tom has to want it as well, and not just the fans. So as much as we want to see the small lineup with RJ, with Randall and Obi together, Tom doesn't want to see it, and I don't think we're going to see it now that we have Mitchell Robinson and Nerlens Noel healthy. Because the only time we even sniffed that small lineup is when we was having injury problems with Mitchell Robinson and Nerlens Noel. But I do like the prospect of Cam Reddish at the 3 and having the length to defend these elite wing players. I think ultimately, especially certain matches where I feel like he's going to be motivated, I feel like he can be a real plus for us when we guarding guys like Middleton or even longer guys like Durant sometimes. He might give us a chance to slow these guys down more than we could have with RJ, who's being a good defender and flash some good defense, but doesn't have the athletic tools to deal with those guys. And even our guy Grimes, who's a really astute defender, a really good team defender, but he's 6'4" and he's gonna struggle against these taller wings.
Yeah, most definitely. And just to chip in right quick, I think if you do have a lineup of, or at least a front court where you have Obi at his best, Randall and Cam at his best, I think that would be a very, very good lineup with those three guys in the front court. As long as Obi's playing at his best and Cam is playing at his best, and then Randall's playing his usual self, that would be a very good lineup. But I can't see Thibs ever doing that. So
yeah, it's a dream. It's a dream. Yeah. But yeah, salute to you, man. Thank you for the call. I'm not sure if you're still on, but thank you for the call. All right, next caller up. Let us know. We got Darcy. Let us know what you want to talk about and where you from, Darcy.
Hey, what's going on, boss? Appreciate you having me on.
All right.
I wanted to talk about the Cam Reddish trade and kind of just the future forecast of, the avenues that the Knicks can take to continue to build the team. I thought Cam Reddish was a great pickup. One thing I noticed about him is that he's putting on a lot of muscle since being at Duke, and he's also playing more confidently on the court. You can see he just has a different level of intensity and aggressiveness in his approach on the offense and defense too. I think, some questions of him was his motor when he was coming out of Duke, and that's why he ended up really dropping down to 10th so that Atlanta was able to pick him up. And so I think now he's kind of coming into his own understanding, hey, I need to play for my next contract. And essentially that's what he's doing right now. Woj said that he wanted the opportunity to, one, be able to really get more minutes and to also earn his next contract. And I think the Knicks, they're in a sweet position of where they have a year and a half to really evaluate him and determine, whether you want to pay him long term. So I think there's kind of a mix of different avenues that the Knicks can take coming up before the trade deadline, right? To me, the future forecast would be the Knicks obviously made this move with the intent of potentially being able to woo Zion Williamson to requesting a trade to come to the Knicks. So I feel like the future forecast of that would be RJ at the 2, Reddish at the 3, and Zion at the 4, and then you get Randall out of here and probably bring in another young guard or a veteran guard that can help set the offense and be that floor general that the Knicks would need to make it work between those three. But I think also you have to consider, okay, what moves will we have to make to get rid of Fournier now, because you need to move RJ to the 2. So I think Fournier, this is his first season on the Knicks. If this was next season where you were trying to trade him, a team might be willing to take on his contract because it'll only be 2 years left on the deal.
Right.
But I think you have a pretty good amount of time, and he's not a scraps type of player that you just throw away. At the end of the day. But I think if you attach him, maybe ship him to OKC or something like that, and attach a first-round pick or something like that if you need to. But you can't bring back. Would you really be looking to bring back talent if you're trying to create position for Cam Reddish to get more minutes?
Right.
I don't think you want to cut Grimes and McBride's minutes, because we can't risk not seeing what we have in them, because the Knicks really have good rights, draft rights to players. And so we need to see what we have in the talent that we drafted. So I'm not in favor of cutting their minutes. I'm in favor of getting rid of some of these veterans, right? And I think all of that is going to be predicated on how well Cam Reddish plays, though, right?
Yep.
And what Thibs sees in him. But I also question Thibs' his developmental perspective, because I don't think he really gives he doesn't maximize his rookies and his young guys on his teams unless they're playing exceptional, or if that's all he has to work with on his roster. But because we have so many veterans right now, I just don't trust that he's going to make the right decisions and really giving these guys minutes to see what we can get out of them, because, there's pressure to win, which is, to me, the most important thing. But I think there's just a lot of avenues right now that the Knicks can take.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You explained them all perfectly, man. Pretty much we've been saying all show, but you broke it down in a nice little 5-minute package, man. Really, really good breakdown. Appreciate you calling in, for sure.
Yeah, I enjoyed this call. It's a really good call.
Facts.
Hey, no, I appreciate that, man. Let me ask y'all a question, because this is a constant debate, and this is a little off topic from Cam Reddish, but do you think, Mitchell Robinson is another player that's coming up that the Knicks will have to make a decision on. I'm all in favor of paying Mitch. Mitch was a projected top 10 pick. He fell to the second round due to him not playing in college and making a decision to just focus on, going in the draft. But Mitch, to me, a player coming out of high school, he was a center who could put the ball on the floor.
Right.
And when he was a focal point of the offense, at least. And I think a lot of Knicks fans lose sight of that, because Mitch really doesn't get touches now. Most of his points that he scores is off of offensive rebounds or lobs. But I think we're not really maximizing the opportunity to really use Mitch and grow him into being a stretch five. I've had constant debates with Knicks fans who try to tell me that it's because he doesn't have it in his bag. And I'm like, I don't think that's the case. I think the Knicks just limit him to being that defensive general, but in really not maximizing his game. Mitch has good hand and eye coordination. You throw it up in the air, he's catching it. So I think, and then he's also a mobile 7-footer. So I think there's an opportunity to really grow his game that we're not maximizing. And I feel like the Knicks are doing that because you don't want to have to pay him that much, because the league just as a whole is not really paying big contracts. So, what are you guys' thoughts on that?
Oh, man. All right, cool. I'm gonna break it down. Definitely listen. If you listen to this program for a while, because some of y'all know a lot of you guys are new, because there's mad people in the chat. Shout out to everybody in the chat. If it's your first time listening, please hit that like button, subscribe button. But if it's your first time here, Ryan, we've joked about Sham God Mitch for years with the handle. We joked about him, Mitch with the 3, and I've cooled down on that a lot, because we talk about indicators sometimes on the show, and indicators are what do you see that's happening on the floor that can translate into good 3-point shooting. Usually what happens first is the free throw percentage gets to a certain point, and once you start to see the free throw percentage is up at a certain point, then you can, okay, that can translate into your 3-point percentage, because hitting the free throws prove that you have a rhythm, you have a consistent flow to your shot, and if you can do it standing still with nobody on you at 75% or higher, then you can potentially hit the 3. Mitch hasn't shown that he can do that so far, even though he flashed it on television. Flashed it on video. So I've cooled off on that, and I think the Knicks cooled off on it too. I feel like they were trying to get him to a certain point offensively and then expand his game out, because I feel like Tom Thibodeau kind of alluded to, we're going to see some more of that. We're going to see some more of Mitch doing this, But I don't know what happened, but I feel like he didn't hit certain benchmarks in practice, and that's why he never busted out in the game. That's what I think personally.
Okay, so let me ask you a follow-up question into that, right? So I hear a lot of Knicks fans make the argument that R.J. Barrett in himself hasn't gotten enough touches in the offense, and him and Randall haven't learned how to work together in conjunction with Fournier and Kimber. So, and I feel like this has been an issue for the Knicks for a while, because we haven't had a true floor general.
Right.
So with that being the case, I feel like you really wouldn't have the opportunity to expand Mitch's game and see what he can do in the game, because there's still not enough touches to go around as is.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
What you think about that?
You want to say something, Ryan?
No, I was saying that's most definitely true, because with the way the lineup is at the moment with Kemba and Fournier and RJ and Randall, there's only so much. There's so much the ball, like
there's only one basketball.
All those guys, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, one basketball. Everybody, needs touches, and and all these guys are perimeter players as it is. So it's like, to really incorporate Mitch as a stretch five, like, it doesn't really make sense when you have Randall, Fournier, Kemba, and RJ on the court. So I feel like that's also a reason why the Knicks probably would just, resort him to like being in the paint and grabbing rebounds and finishing lobs and things like that, because the Knicks already have 4 guys within that starting lineup that are perimeter oriented.
Yeah, here's
exactly, and they need to score.
Yeah, they need to score. And here's my thing too. Here's my thing.
You don't want to pay your foul. No. You don't want to pay him a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, we don't. We don't. All good points. And here's my thing too. And salute to you, because we gotta get to the next caller. But definitely call back, man. Definitely enjoyed your call. Here's my thing. Like I said this before yesterday after the show. I feel like, Derrick Rose is the guy who unlocked Obi Toppin, and most recently IQ is doing that as well. I feel like RJ and Mitch has always had a chemistry, and we started to see it last year. And the thing that I like about what's going on with RJ right now, and with him getting more touches and more time and more plays to run the offense, I feel like his emergence as a ball handler, as a guy who's running pick and roll, is unlocking Mitch even more, because I feel like he's getting more opportunities to kind of catch the ball and dunk it, and not just kind of, wait for his opportunities to get offensive rebounds. So he hit 20 points, 19 points, 10 rebounds yesterday, and I think a lot of that has to do with RJ looking for him, and even Evan Fournier and Randall starting to do a little bit more. So RJ, I feel like RJ is a nice little cog that can unlock Mitch's offensive potential when it comes to getting his lobs. Shot 90% yesterday, and I think we need to utilize that a lot more moving forward. And it was what, I'll give Kemba some props too, because when Kemba was on the rampage, him and Mitch was starting to get some synergy too with the lob play. So shout out to Kemba. All right. Next caller up, we got my man Ari. What's going on, Ari? Let us know what you want to talk about, sir.
Yeah, what up, JL? What up, Ryan? What's going on?
What's going on, man?
Good.
Not much, man. So I'm somewhere in between you guys and like the rest of Knicks Twitter or whatever. Like I wouldn't say we necessarily like fleeced him, like stole him, but I'm definitely higher on the trade than it sounds like you guys are, even though I know you guys are still like the trade. So the way I look at it is, you picked up a distressed asset, right? Mm-hmm. The way I look at it is like, 'cause I do real estate, right? So I pick up like distressed properties and stuff like that, and I flip them, right? Mm-hmm. But the Hawks overpaid all their players, Bogey, Trae Young, they paid DeAndre Hunter, they paid they paid all their players. And what ended up happening is that Cam Reddish, with his injury history, his inconsistent play, and the fact that they have no cap space, he became a distressed asset, right?
Facts.
And from the Knicks from the NBA perspective, the Hawks wanted to trade Cam Reddish, not for talent, not for any players, just to dump his salary because they weren't going to pay him and to pick up a draft pick, right?
Facts.
So then you think of it like this. They only wanted draft picks. Okay. So then you look at it like this. What teams are willing to part with draft picks, right? Mm-hmm. All the contending teams in the league, right, like the Lakers, Clippers, all the people that would pick up someone like Cam Reddish to make a run, right, don't have the draft picks to give for Cam Reddish because they're all gone. They used them all, right? Mm-hmm. And all the teams that do have draft picks, like OKC, are not going to want to trade their draft pick capital to pay Cam Reddish big money in a year from now, right?
Facts.
So it made sense. The Knicks are in a situation where they're half rebuilding, they're half, trying to stay relevant, and they have more draft picks than they need. They have all their draft picks plus some.
Facts.
So it made perfect sense for both teams. Now, here's the thing. I love the Reddish trade from the Knicks' perspective because at the end of the day, the Knicks need to add talent. This team needs talent, all right? We need to add blue chip talent, all right? Mm-hmm. And the wing position is a need. And then the wing position is a need for us. So I like the trade. And I think, giving up the worst draft pick, we have the top 18 protected. Kevin Knox not playing anyway. It makes sense, right? Mm-hmm. But here's what I say. And I love the deal. But here's what I will say. This is the reason why Atlanta sold Cam Reddish for peanuts is because they were spending reckless money on people, right?
Facts.
They didn't have the money to afford it.
Mm-hmm.
The Knicks next year, after the end of next year, the Knicks are going to have to pay R.J. Barrett and Cam Reddish.
Yep.
And they're probably going to have to pay Mitchell Robinson this year. You cannot pay Mitchell Robinson, Cam Reddish, R.J. Barrett, Evan Fournier, and Julius Randle big money.
Nope.
It's impossible. It's just not. It's not a cap thing. You can't do it. Which makes me lead to the next point. The Knicks, obviously, this is a part A to a part B and C move. Okay.
Yep.
You're not trading a first-round pick. You're not trading a first-round pick for him not to be part of the future. And you know that R.J. Barrett is a big part of the Knicks' future. So you know Leon Rose is thinking, I'm trying to pay R.J. and Cam. This is my future. Which means that Evan Fournier or Julius Randle, at the minimum, one of them has to go, man. And, like, listen, you guys know my take on Randle, and you guys, know my take on Fournier, all right? I would trade them, but here's the other thing. Like, again, there's only one ball, right? There's only one ball. And, R.J. Barrett is, like, just coming on to his own right now. He's, like, blowing up. He's playing good basketball. You're going to throw another guy who kind of needs the ball into the mix. It's a risk. Him, Randle, Cam Reddish, the fit, I don't want it to hold anything back. So we need to get rid of some of these pieces. Yep. In my opinion, Alec Burks is gone at the deadline. Trade him for whatever. Get a first-round pick, just to open up space, all right?
Mm-hmm.
And, you gotta move. You got to move either Randle or Fournier by the end of next year. You don't have to necessarily do it this year, but you can't pay all these five guys that big money.
I agree.
All you're going to end up being is a 3-seed or 4-seed or 5-seed or 6-seed, never go anywhere. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So what's the end game? What's the end game, man? And, I think it's still a good trade, high upside. It may work out, but you never – it doesn't make as much sense unless they have another plan B to move another bigger contract. Like – Cam Reddish and RJ need the ball in their hands to be effective. So does Derrick Rose. Kemba is not even here. All these guys need the ball, man.
Facts.
You're trying to fit a team together. You know what I'm saying? So who are we going to move? How are we going to move them? And, that's my question to you. What are you guys – what's your plan B? We got the plan A, and it's a good move. What's the plan B? Because my plan B is trading Randle for whatever or trading Fournier for whatever. I'd rather trade Fournier first, but – I would trade both of them personally. But thank you for taking my call, and be interested to hear what you think.
I absolutely.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Thank you.
Shout out to Ari for that breakdown. And we kind of touched on it in the first half hour or so. But definitely can reiterate again. And here's the thing. Absolutely, there's another move coming for all the reasons that you just stated. There's a lot of money. The Knicks right now are like over the cap, right? But there's a few things that kind of stand out to me. One of the things is who wasn't traded. Because yes, we got Cam Reddish, but if you saw the reports that Ian reported, Ian also said that the Hawks wanted Grimes instead of Kevin Knox. And if we traded Grimes instead of Kevin Knox, that would have been I would have felt completely different about this trade. Completely different. And here's why. Grimes, to me, is the Evan Fournier kind of replacement. Right? So I know at a certain point, like Ari said, we're gonna have to get rid of some of this money. And we said in the beginning of the program, it's probably gonna be Evan Fournier, Alec Burks. But if we move Evan Fournier, and he keeps playing the way he is right now, but then Grimes starts to come on, then we can comfortably move Evan Fournier. And still not miss a beat and have Grimes here and still have some cap wiggle room to do certain things. I just don't, but it's just gonna be rough to me. Grimes just needs to play, man. Grimes just needs to play. Like it might be better worth it to have Cam play spot minutes this season and get more minutes next season, just so we can see what we have in Grimes, so we can move Evan Fournier and free up money that way, and still be able to have Grimes and Cam Reddish. Now that I'm talking out loud and thinking about this as we're talking to you guys. So that's what I'm hoping happens. That Evan Fournier gets moved because that's $17 million. And then I still kind of like Alec Burks here, but if Alec Burks has to move, it would suck. But he's the less expensive piece, and he's the more kind of Swiss Army knife. But I probably would look to move. Personally, I would look to move Fournier first. And if something like Zion happens, I would definitely move Randall if that time comes.
Yeah, I'm basically on board with you with what you said. I feel like if Cam Reddish is going to get playing time, like if the Knicks are making it a priority that Cam Reddish is to get playing time this season, I do think the Knicks are going to make another small move before the deadline, whether it be Burks or somebody else to try to, loosen up the roster space a bit and where you can slide Cam Reddish in and give him that playing time. But also I agree with Ari as well. I don't see Fournier or Randall being moved this season. This season they're gonna be there for the rest of this season. But next season I could see something developing where the Knicks will be like, okay, like he said, we have all these guys, we have all these young players coming up that we need to pay. And then if we keep Randall and Fournier's contract, you're basically gonna lock up the cap. So now you're gonna have a team where you might make the playoffs, but you're not gonna go anywhere. Like you said, it's gonna be either first round, second round exit every season.
Right.
So it's like, and you have to remember the Knicks front office. The reason why they're here is because the goal has always been to get a disgruntled superstar to come to the Knicks. And of course, to do that, you're gonna need guys on big contracts that can cover the money, who are hopefully playing well. So eventually, there's going to have to come a time where Leon Rose and the front office is going to have to make a decision, and they're going to have to be like, we're going to have to make a package, and where Randall, Fournier, and these guys are packaged together to bring in another piece where this guy's going to really be the centerpiece of the franchise, and that's somebody they're going to actually build around, and they have the other young guys there to form the roster and actually have a formidable team. So. Yeah, this is just a plan A. Like, Knicks are not done. The Knicks are definitely going to be, there's definitely going to be a plan B to this, a plan C that they're going to execute. And it'll be interesting to see what happens within the next couple of seasons.
Absolutely. And I would hope, because Nerlens Noel is another issue. Like, if we can flip Noel, that would be great. Like, I'm absolutely thrilled at what Noel did for us last season. But if I have to choose between Mitch and Noel, I'm choosing Mitch every day. But Noel hasn't been healthy enough, so no one's gonna take him in his mind right now. But if he's healthy for the rest of the season and we can move him for some cap space later or something like that, I would definitely do that so we can actually have the money to resign the people that we want to resign, moving forward. So yeah, Fritz, how many calls do we have? I want to cap the phone calls because it's getting kind of late.
Yeah, it's like past midnight.
Right. So whoever's online right now are the ones we have, and we're gonna finish out the phone calls right now, and then we will be back on Saturday to talk Knicks versus Hawks. It's gonna be Cam Reddish versus Kevin Knox, and we're gonna take the lollipop head down. All right. So
we got 3 more callers.
Yeah, we got 3 more callers. You're gonna have the full squad here. We're gonna have me, Ryan G, and our guy Raw Hebrew. After the game, talking Knicks versus Hawk basketball, bringing us our analysis, our jokes, and our repertoire. And hopefully we beat these Hawks again, man, because they was really talking a lot of smack during the playoffs. And it's really gratifying beating them so far this season. We need to keep that roll going for real. All right. Next caller up. Let us know what your name is and where you're from and what do you want to talk about.
Hey, guys. This is Fritz. Just wanted to jump on real quick.
All right, what up, Fritz?
Hey, how's it going?
All right.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go out on a limb, and I'm gonna be the one person who talks about putting the Duke trio together. So I think it's possible. I don't think I'm gonna say it's going to happen, but it's possible. Zion has everything in his power to say that he didn't want to be in New Orleans without being the bad guy. And we know Zion CAA. Zion is rehabbing. He's rehabbing in Portland with Nike instead of rehabbing in New Orleans. The team is letting him do that. We know Zion as a person, he rolls with family. He don't really roll with like his teammates that much, and that's kind of weird in New Orleans. So Cam Reddish could be a way of the Knicks making an environment for him to like thrive. So you got RJ, well-known gym rat. Reddish is gonna make sure he's gonna do what he's gonna do. You got people he likes that he can roll with, and and right now I know we talked about him earlier. We talked about we wish I had a skinnier Zion you trade for him, but skinny Zion is unattainable. If Zion was on weight, there would be no trade package that the Knicks could put together, no matter how many players you could put in it. Right?
Yeah. He would just have to be bold and force his way out, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Zion is this summer schedule, they want him to sign that massive contract. And if he says no and he puts his one, if he says no this summer, then, that clock starts ticking for him to get out. So this could be like the best if Portland knows and knows that he's pushing out, this is the time for them to split.
Yeah.
And so the Knicks would know. We as fans, we wouldn't know. Leon would know because he's CAA. He got his hands all in that.
Right. Absolutely.
I'm not. I just say it's a possibility. I think it's a possibility, and just that he's in Portland with Utah says a little something instead of New Orleans.
True.
Because of all the places you can rehabbing with Nike is pretty interesting.
True. All true.
Yeah.
All true. Yeah, all true.
Yeah. That's all I want to say. Yeah. I just want to throw that out there, and I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think it would be cheap. I think it'd be a massive trade. I don't even think it would be like a direct trade. I think it would be 3-4 teams to make it happen. But I think it's possible.
I think it's possible too, man. I think it's possible too, man. Yo, thank you. That's our Fritz calling in, giving his 2 cents on the Zion Cam Reddish being the bait type of deal. We tried this move before with DeAndre Jordan, but I don't want to talk about that now. Never mind. Next topic. Shout out to my guy Fritz. Next caller up, let us know what your name is, where you're from, and what do you want to talk about.
Yeah.
Hey,
what up, my guy?
We did it.
Yeah,
we
man.
We got Cam. Oh wait, I got you, man. Whenever you need some tips in the gym, I got you. I just got back just now.
That's what's up.
But all right. I'm okay with the trade. I agree. I don't think it's much of a fleece because if we remember last season, it was talking about just giving like a second round pick for him. So it is what it is. But the reason I'm not jumping out the window, because like remember I called, we talked about this yesterday. I don't trust Tibbs. I don't. Like I would trust Tibbs if basically Cam was going to jump immediately to the starting lineup. And Tibbs is not going to do that. He's going to live and die with those vets.
Facts.
So right now, I'm just more curious to see how it's going to work, how it's going to play, because in a perfect world, you want Cam to start and you want Grimes to back him up.
Right.
But yeah, I see people in the chat. Talking about, we depend too much on our young guys. Yeah, that's what the point of a rebuilding season is. You play the kids so they can develop into something. Because if you have role players that you already got at home that's already gelling, continuity is important, then you develop a winning culture instead of keep going shopping around and making Evan Fournier contracts and Noel contracts and Randall contracts. So you got your young guys, you know what they're worth, you can pay them what they're worth, and everybody's winning.
Right.
So that's kind of my biggest. That's my biggest concern with that. So hopefully, like I said, I am of the belief that Cam is going to take Grimes minutes, and hopefully, Grimes is going to end up being in the back burner, probably in the G League, up until we can move Fournier, because realistically, Fournier is the first person that's got to go. Once Fournier goes, RJ slides to the 2,
Cam can jump up to the 3, and then we can look. And the biggest thing we need is a point guard. We need a point guard that can facilitate and help those guys out, like I said before, a playmaking, defending point guard. So we'll see. I'm not concerned about RJ and Cam being teammates because they already were. So unless if Cam have a motive where he wants to get the bag, we ain't got enough money for that. Ari basically hit. I don't need to reiterate what he said. It's a big thing. So now we got to figure out what contracts we moving. Right now, the priority contracts, the most realistic contracts to move is Noel and Fournier. But like I said, when I called a couple shows ago, what are we going to get back in return? Like, the perfect situation is to trade those guys for somebody who's on a 1-year deal. That way, got him for that 1 year, he's out the door. So that's like the biggest thing. Yeah, that's the biggest thing that we're gonna see. Because I don't know. Like right now, I don't know what to expect. Because like I said, I don't trust Tibbs. I don't really, and we are not in the best situation because we just signed all these guys, and everybody's in their spots, and I don't see things moving unless it's injuries and trades. I'm concerned about the trades because we are in the win now mode. Where I want to rebuild for something strong in the future, not the flashy penny, but that's not what Tibbs want to do.
Yeah,
so he ain't going to trade. He's not going to trade Fournier and Noel and all those guys for expiring contracts. Like, all right, we're just going to rebuild the youth movement. That man ain't going to do that. If he do that, that's because he got fired. That's because the front office did it. We got someone else coming in. So we'll see what happens. We'll see how this thing fester. I'll just keep calling in, but I do like the trade. I do like that we got him because that's what we need. Yeah. So we'll see how it goes. I know there's a bunch of callers. Yo, real quick before I get off, I always say this. There's 581 people in the chat. Make sure y'all hit that like button, y'all subscribe, and y'all show love to the channel, all right? And that note,
Shout out to my guy. That's my featured trainer if you didn't know. If y'all didn't know. Follow him on Instagram. He calls in almost every show. Loyal KOT follow, man. Always gives us the energy. Love when he calls in, man. Only thing I have to say is I feel like I don't think Noel is gonna be as easy to move right now. I feel like the easiest people to move in order right now might be Alec Burks. And then maybe Fournier recently, his play, I think, might warrant him being moved or being, not having to attach a pick to move him, but somebody actually be excited to get him. Yeah. And of course, our young guys, OB and IQ, those guys are definitely Grimes. Those guys will definitely produce some interest. But those are the guys that we want to keep, So
yeah, most definitely.
Exactly. But shout out to the guys who's rocking with the show, man. Like you said, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and thank you for rocking with us. Great show tonight so far. I love the turnout. We're gonna be talking about these Knicks versus Hawks, man, on Saturday. Knicks versus Hawks on Saturday. We're gonna be talking about it, so definitely tune in Saturday after the game. It's gonna be me, Ryan G, and our guy, the Raw Metaphor. I call him the Raw Hebrew Remnant, who's gonna be breaking it down. Should be a fun show. We haven't all three been together in a minute, so I can't wait for the episode for that game. It's gonna be fun, especially if you win.
Facts.
Especially if you win. We're gonna be talking so much Smittedak. I can already see you roll with the cooked birds metaphor on Saturday.
Exactly. The amount of Twitter comments we're gonna see about smoking that Atlanta pack too.
Oh yeah, exactly. All that noise. Yo, shout out, hold on, the gunshots. The gunshots, $5 super chat from Blood of Panther, who says Leon has a pattern. Burke is next. Burke has the highest value and lowest ceiling on the team. Yeah, I agree with you. Highest value, lowest ceiling. You know what he's going to get from him. He's going to get some playmaking. You're going to get some defense. He's not going to get that much better, but he's going to be serviceable for whatever team he goes on. So I definitely agree with you. But yeah, shout out to everybody who's rocking the chat. Shout out to PD, NYC, Underdog, Horizon, Fritz Alessander, Malcolm Johnson, JD. Oh, shout out to JD Sports Talk in the chat. Shout out to you, my guy. Shout out to Ari Michael, HOF Nation Sports Cards. Everybody else is rocking the KOT show. Please hit the like, subscribe button, man. Loving the energy tonight. Cam Reddish on the Knicks. Good trade, man. I don't want to sound.
Good trade.
Yeah, I don't want to sound like we dumping on Cam because I'm not. I'm just I'm I'm talking about the pros and the cons. All in all, I'm very happy with the trade. We traded a first round pick who's heavily protected that can very well turn into 2 second round picks by the time 2025 comes around, depending on how good or bad Charlotte Hornets play. And we traded a guy in Kevin Knox who wasn't going to be here anyway. So that's a win
exactly.
for a guy who has all-star potential. So it's a win. Although
exactly.
I'm not saying it's not necessarily going to be, 100% in where it can 100% work out, but it's a no-brainer trade for us because of the potential that Cam Reddish has. All right.
Yeah, and to put it in simple terms, Knicks upgraded their roster. For me, my main concern is just Grimes' minutes, and with the way the roster is currently set, where are you going to give Reddish those minutes? That's my only concern at the moment.
Absolutely. All right, same here, man. I want to keep Grimes. I want to keep Grimes activated. I want to keep Grimes getting his reps in. I feel like this last game he hit some really nice threes for us. The defense seems to be all the way there. He seems like he's over helping less too. So I like what Grimes is giving us, and he can be our potential Evan Fournier replacement. So I want to see him keep developing. So it'll be more of a no-brainer when it comes time to move Evan Fournier down the road because we don't need him. We got Grimes here for millions less. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Last caller up for the night. We got our guy Justin. Justin, let us know where you from. What do you want to talk about?
Hey, I'm from LA. I'm a Knicks fan. I used to live in New York, but not anymore.
Oh, shout out to you. Repping NY from LA. All right, that must be rough.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Believe me. But this is a big move today, and one of the things I think this sets the Knicks up for is the trade deadline, and I think the Knicks should actually look to trade guys like Mitchell Robinson and Nerlens Noel and even Evan Fournier. You go out, you get rid of those guys, you bring in guys like Miles Turner, Malcolm Brogdon, and give some of the picks that you have now that really you're not going to need in the next couple of years. And you try to give yourself the best chance to contend possible.
Right. Whew. Man, we've had this discussion. We've had this discussion to death here.
Because at the end of the day, man, like these guys, guys like RJ and these young guys, they want to contend on a winning team if they're going to be in New York. And they can be on a playoff team, pay them. But at the end of the day, you're trying to win a championship. You're trying to deliver, a championship back to the city of New York. So the best way to do that is number one, you got to build a solid team. You got to get yourself a star, a legit star. Maybe a guy like Damian Lillard. Maybe a guy like, I don't know, maybe Paul George in the future if he decides to leave LA. But you got to go in there. You got to give yourself a legit star. And without that, you can't even make a conversation for the Knicks right now and being a serious contender. Like right now, they're 500, and like that seems fine for now. But a couple years down the line, they got to step it up a bit. And the more these young guys grow, the better they're going to get. But at the same time, you got to put stars around these guys.
Well, here's what I'll say to that. Right. There's two ways to get stars. You could trade stars. You could trade for stars, one, or you can develop the stars, two, right? And also, the third part is you can trade for stars how you didn't even know there were stars. And
that's what I think this Cameron Reddish trade does.
Right. Exactly. Because, like, James Harden wasn't even James Harden until he got to the Houston Rockets. He needed the opportunity to become James Harden. So there's not one way to skin a cat. So you make it sound super easy, but in reality, it's not easy to win a championship in the NBA. And there's only like a handful of people who can change the trajectory of your team just by going there. And it's been like LeBron, Damon, like that's it. And even when that happens, you have to like trade half of your team to get them. And then now you cash strap for cap space, or you have to like trade away your future. So it's a delicate balance. And I agree with you that we have to, get a star here. It's just that, it's not as easy as it sounds, man. But the benefit of being in New York is that we are in New York, And if we build the right way, if we have some continuity, if we keep our books clean, and we prove that we have a culture here, that it should get easier because we are in New York. So I'm hoping we're building in the right direction. The second part of that is the Mitchell Robinson thing too. I want to get to that too. I understand that we have a need for a stretch five here. And I love Mitch, dog. Like, Mitch has had a down year, but
I like him too.
But it's like, if I could move Noel, I would.
He doesn't need the ball.
Right.
Yeah. He doesn't need the ball in his hands, and he's a good fit. It's just when you remember in the playoffs when they were playing Atlanta, it was really hard for Julius to get to a spot and get to those positions because they were just constantly doubling him, knowing that Mitch was just going to be in the paint or he couldn't stretch the floor, so it just clogged up the paint for them, and it just made it really easy for Atlanta to just cruise right by. And that's what I noticed a lot. Would you be open to trading Evan Fournier, knowing you're giving up Mitchell Robinson for a guy like Turner? You can get rid of Fournier's salary and give up on Mitch?
Go ahead, Ryan.
Well, to be honest about it, me personally, I'm not giving up on Mitch. Like, I agree, a stretch five would be nice. I definitely would like to see a stretch five here, but if there's a way for me to get a stretch five here and keep Mitch at the same time, I would much rather do that than trading Mitch for a stretch five straight up. And I think when it comes to Atlanta in the playoffs as well, I don't think it was really the fact that Julius Randle was clogged in the paint with Noel in the middle, and that's why the Knicks struggle on offense. I think it was because the Knicks didn't really have shot creators like that.
I think it's both.
Well, that's true. They had Payton last season. They just threw him out the rotation, and Rose came in and he provided scoring, but it just wasn't enough.
I think it's both, Ryan. To be honest,
with the other guys as well, there wasn't enough, there.
I think it's both.
A lot of rookies too.
I think it's both, Ryan, to be honest with you, because there's plenty of times where we were trying to get Julius Randle going. He starts off ISO, top of the key to three-point line. He drives left only to be met by Clint Capella. And if he had a stretch five there, he wouldn't be met by Clint Capella because Clint Capella would be guarding Miles Turner or whoever he has to guard. So yeah,
exactly.
Even with the Celtics, right? The Celtics, we had freaking Robert Williams. Robert Williams single-handedly almost beat us pretty much. I know everybody else had, why am I drawing a blank right now? Because it's over midnight and I can't think anymore. But my point is, if we had somebody to draw out Williams, we'd be fine. I mean, the other part about that is if Tibbs went small and then had Randle at the 5, then we can kind of litigate the situation. But Tibbs is not going to do that, so we might need a stretch 5 here. Now, I was playing with the idea of putting Mitch in a trade for Miles Turner. If it was Mitch and maybe like a pick for Miles, I might think about it, but I'm still not 100% comfortable doing it. Only because I know how good
but you need
Mitch
salary too. That's the thing.
Yeah. Because Mitch is not even making $2 million. So
Fournier's making around the same. You ship both of those guys to get Turner, and you're gonna have to pay Mitchell Robinson eventually, and there's going to be teams offering him, I think, $15+ million because he's a good defensive big and he can move.
My
and
thing,
he still has room for growth.
My thing is, do they want Turner? I feel like when you're starting to sell off guys like Indiana's doing, they're going to want picks and young assets. They're not going to want veterans who are 30. You know what I'm saying? So ideally,
right.
if it was straight up Evan for Miles Turner, sign me up. Sign me up. But I don't think that's what's going to happen.
Would you give up a first round pick? With Evan in the first for Turner?
Well, I think Indiana would want a first round pick in return if they're going to give him Miles Turner. So I think that's like a formality. Like the Knicks would have to
still have the Dallas pick.
I think I might do that. But I also feel like we definitely have to move Noel. We would have to move Noel.
Yeah, you have to move him. They're gonna have to make some big decisions because, I mean, I get it. The team's got to be patient. You got to develop these guys. But before you have to pay RJ, Cam Reddish, and all these other guys, you got to get a superstar. And you got to find a way to do it, because once you have those guys' contracts locked in, you can't really get out of them. Well, you could get out of them, but you can't get out of them with getting another star.
Yeah, I agree with you.
With the other pieces that you have.
I mean, yeah, we need a superstar, but like it's easier said than done. There's more than one way to do it. Like, hopefully, we find a way to do it, man. But thank you for the call, man. Appreciate the call.
Yeah.
Definitely come back. Call back. Call back, man. I'm gonna end the show up and get some rest. But we'll be back here on Saturday. Trust.
Yes, sir. And everybody in the chat, I see we have 294 likes. If you can, get us to 300, please, before the show ends. 300 likes, please. 6 more likes.
Absolutely. And wait up. We did get a $5 super chat. Shout out to my guy, Papo171. So the $5 super chat says, Knicks need a point guard. I like Jalen Brunson. They got all these players, but not one healthy point guard. Tibbs is not going to play McBride. Yeah. Shout out to Michael Murphy. He's one of the writers for the KOT show. He just wrote an article that talked about how he feels like Jalen Brunson to the Knicks is inevitable because of his ties to the New York Knicks. So definitely go to the knickoftimeshow.com and read that article. And get you a KOT snapback right there while you're at it. All right.
Yes, sir. And also, I want to shout out the chat right quick, because I asked for 300. We got the 307. So
Let's go.
Thank you.
Go.
Big up the chat. Still with us 12:35 in the morning.
Let's go, man. Out here. And shout out to JD Sports Talk, man. 499 Super Chat says, great show. Give me the best 5 you want to see play extended minutes fully healthy. The best 5 you talking about the best 5 on the team right now? They want to say
extended minutes fully healthy. Ooh.
Best 5. Well, shoot.
Well, Mitch definitely at the center.
Definitely the Mitch. Definitely the Bodman.
Yeah, Bodman Barrett.
Yeah, Bodman Barrett gotta go. Gotta play.
I'm still putting Randall in there, because I feel like when Randall's at his best, he's all-star Randall at his best. So I'm still keeping Randall in there. I'm
liking IQ, man. I want to see IQ get burned. Like I'm torn between IQ and McBride a little bit here.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like IQ is showing some flashes. You're already seeing that he can create separation. He can take bigs off the dribble, and he's learning as a point guard. He's not perfect. He does kind of stiff Grimes sometimes. But I feel like with some more reps, he could be a good one. But McBride as well, man. The defense of McBride.
Yeah.
He had that one good game versus Houston where I'm just like, oh, wow, this guy could do something. But then he also kind of fails to create separation as a point guard and create easy opportunities for other people. And that concerns me a little bit. So I'm torn between McBride and IQ.
If I have to say at this moment it's IQ,
Yeah, I would say I would go at this moment IQ. At this moment, IQ.
So it's one more position, because Mitch, Randall, Bodman Barrett, IQ.
My heart is going Grimes now too. My heart is going Grimes. I want to see what Grimes can do. And you know what, Fournier at this point, he's coming on. But this is my young guy bias right now. This is my young guy bias, because right now, Fournier, he's showing a little more offensively. He seems Fournier is a little bit more reliable with his runner and his mid range right now than Grimes is. Grimes has a better defensive acumen, and for fun reasons, I want to see Grimes.
Because when I think about it, it's like, okay, if I'm gonna have Mitch, if I'm gonna have Randall, and I'm gonna have RJ, Bodman Barrett, then it's like I do want some shooters on the floor as well. So yeah, I guess IQ and Grimes, because those guys are gonna be the shooters.
But then we just got Reddish too. Is Reddish count? Is Reddish here already?
I mean, if Reddish lives up to his potential, then I think it's easily Reddish in there. If Reddish lives up to who we think he's gonna be,
right?
So maybe it'd be Mitch, Randall, Reddish, Badman Barrett IQ.
Yeah.
If Reddish lives up to his potential.
Yeah, I'll go with that. I'm gonna go with that right now.
All right.
Great question. Had us thinking at the last minute, like, man, who do we want? Who would be the all fun lineup? Will really be Obi. The all fun lineup would be IQ, IQ, Badman, Reddish, Obi, Mitch. That'd be an all fun lineup.
Ooh, that line would be up and down the floor.
Oh yeah, no breaks.
Be running people out the gym.
Yeah, Cam got to pass the ball though. He can't be ISO Cam. All right. Cam got to pass the ball. Shout out to Jean Mark. Says a $5 super chat. Says, can Cam Reddish play PG? He flashes playmaking, but he hasn't shown that he's a willing passer as of yet. But you know what? He hasn't had the opportunity to really do it over there with the Hawks. So that remains to be seen.
Yeah.
That remains to be seen. Jason M, because no love for Rose. Rose is injured right now, man. Come on. Rose is injured, and I love Rose. He's probably one of the best point guards on the team, one of the best players on the team. But
yeah,
you know,
man. I mean,
I know. I'm picking for the future.
No, I was just,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think we're doing it from a fantasy standpoint. You know, like what we would like to see. But of course, right now, Rose is the starting point guard. I don't give a damn. Right now, Rose is the starting point guard.
That's a fact. That's a fact. But if I want to be fun and want to see the young kids run, I think that's the team I'm going with.
Yeah.
Final answer. All right, guys. That is our show, 12:40 a.m. in the morning, talking Knicks basketball. You can be anywhere in the world, but you're here with us. So shout out to you guys. And also, as always,
shout out to Worldwide West. Everywhere we go, we leave a worldwide mess.
Shout out to Worldwide West and the rest of this front office do an awesome job getting these guys on this team and you know, getting Cam Reddish in the building to be reunited with his man, RJ Barrett. All right? But that is our show. All right, Ryan.
Yes, sir.
Ryan. G, let them know. Let them know where they can find you, sir.
You can find me on Instagram at Sir G is chillin'.
Sir G is chillin'.
That's SIRG is CHILLIN. You can also find me on Twitter at RyanGKOT.
All right. You already know what to do, man. You can find us. Find us on the KOT Show on Twitter. Hit us on Instagram. We just hit 10K on Instagram. Follow your boys on Instagram. I got the old ticker up here. My bad, guys. Follow your boys on Instagram. At the Nick of Time Show. Nick of Time Show on Instagram. And also, you know, get to the blog and get the snapbacks too, man. NickofTimeShow.com. Go there, click the catalog button, and get you a snapback. We got it in blue and orange and black and white, so you can support your boys. All right. Like I said, we'll be back on Saturday talking Knicks basketball, Knicks versus Hawks. Hopefully that ends in a win. All right. Great show, Ryan. I'm tired.
Yes, sir. I know, man. 12:41. Sheesh.
Yeah.
Need to give me something to eat and then go to sleep.
Facts. But great show, you guys. Great show, Mod. Salute to you guys who's rocking with us. Salute to the new subscribers. Salute to everybody who donated. That is our show. And once again, as always,
shout out to Worldwide West. Everywhere we go, we leave a worldwide mess.
It's a mess out here, all right? That is our show. We are out of here.
Peace.